Bonjour, my friends around the world. You have made it one way or another to the number one Nintendo podcast, the official, unofficial number one Nintendo podcast. I am your host, EmSwizzle on YouTube, but you can call me Max if you would like, and this is episode number 98 of the Mario Matter Nintendo podcast, guys. We are just 2 Saturdays away from the 100th episode of this podcast. I have the entire thing planned out. It's a solo episode because usually we have guests. Also today we are solo because there's a new game that released. I'll dive into that in a second. It's going to be a solo episode, like twice as long as usual. It's packed, man. It's going to be fun. Look forward to that. If you're here, you're a part of history, so that's always nice. But what is on today's episode of this podcast, guys? I'm sure you want to know, even though you clicked this podcast and probably saw the title of it. Either way, today, of course, in order here, we start by going over Nintendo news from the past 7 days. It's all good stuff. Nintendo revealed the freaking horror game. There are big pieces of news on Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, and so much more. We also, after that, will dive into my first impressions on the brand new released Nintendo game called Nintendo World Championships that released July 18th. As I record this podcast, it came out. A lot of people are skipping buying that game. I bought it so you do not have to for now. And I have some strong thoughts about it. It's a game. I can tell you that it's a freaking game. I played it. I have my thoughts. After that, because that segment is not strong enough, I will dive into when I believe the Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed. Not released, but revealed. It's a big topic, and it's going to happen within the next 6 months, probably. We got to talk about it. And then after that, we get to the people's segment, the favorite segment of this podcast, the Answering Your Questions segment, where I, EmSwizzle or Max, answer your questions you have asked me. We're in for a fun time, my friends. Let's go ahead and get to all of the Nintendo news. Bruce Buffer, please read off the intro.
Welcome to the Mario Matter, the number one Nintendo podcast.
But yeah, we usually have guests on, but man, we've been doing really good with the guests. This is a solo episode because, as I said, we have Nintendo World Championships releasing, and if I have a guest on and they didn't play the game, that's a hard conversation to have, talking about my thoughts on the game. It's rough. So, solo episode, we have a guest next week, and then episode 100, gonna be great, but we always start solo episodes off with some good old Nintendo news. Lots of things, as I said earlier, but before we do dive into that, I always ask you all a trivia question to answer, so I'm going to ask you a Nintendo trivia question, and you have all podcast long to think about the answer for it. At the end of the podcast, I tell you the answer. So today's trivia question is, can you all guess what it is already? What is Mario's last name? Is it Luigi? Sorry, A, Luigi, B, Plumber, is it C, Mario, or is it D, Toadstool? Let me know, guys. Do you know Mario's last name? I'm not sure if I can call you a Nintendo fan. If you don't, I'm just kidding. Not everyone knows that. It's okay. But let's dive into Nintendo news, guys. In front of me, I have a hat here where I pick pieces of paper out, and whatever the paper says, is what we talk about in terms of news. There's news all on these papers, but I already pre-selected one, per usual. I'm going to read off this first one because it's potentially the biggest piece of news, and it is a follow-up on last week's podcast where we talked about the Nintendo horror game Emio. Okay, so our first headline reads, the Nintendo horror game Emio, the whole Emio thing that was last week, has been fully revealed. We have a release date. We have everything for it. So let's break this down, guys. A little over a week ago, we got a very suspicious trailer on Nintendo's YouTube. They put out this trailer. It was called Emio. That's it. It's not like Emio launch trailer. It's not Emio trailer. It was just titled Emio. It was very weird. People didn't know what to make of it. And the whole like general assumption was that we were getting a Nintendo horror game. Well, Nintendo on Wednesday of this week, so that would be July 17th, revealed what this game is. And to put it lightly, it's not what everyone wanted it to be. So this game is called Emio, the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club. Now, if you don't know what that means, I didn't even know what this was before yesterday. Famicom Detective Club is this is the third game in that series. Famicom Detective Club, this was a series that had two games before yesterday that were both released on the Famicom Disk System in Japan over 30 years ago. So these were two very niche games. A couple of years ago, I believe in 2021, they got remakes for Nintendo Switch. Okay, so we have the two Famicom detective games on Switch now. And now, this Emio thing is the third game in the series. It's getting a new game, aside from remakes, 30 years later. Very weird. But you know what, guys? I'm not against it. I'm really not against it. I'm not. Like, I might actually pick this up, even though, like, these anime-style games, because that's kind of what it is. These anime-style games, I'm not really into them, right? But I got vibes from looking at the trailer for the game. I got vibes from Another Code Recollection, and that game is one of those, like, anime-style games, kind of, right? But this game, the Emio game, seems very story-heavy, and I can get behind a good horror story. I'm not into, like, horror movies or games and stuff, but, like, I could see myself being into it. So, this is a $50 game, and guess what? The release date is out, and we literally predicted the future last episode. So, $50, the release date is August 29th. I didn't predict the exact day, August 29th, but last episode I said, guys, watch out, this game might be close to launch. I was dang right. It's only like 1 month away. I was very correct. And my reasoning being, when you were to watch the trailer last week, you know, before we knew this game was officially revealed, if you watched that last week's trailer, it said M for mature. The game was already like close to being done if it's already been rated. So I was like, the game's got to be close to launch, and it is. So that's cool beans. If you want to play those remakes of the first two games, you can. They're on the eShop. $60 for the 2-pack. It's kind of a lot of money. I might get into this game. I think I'll definitely buy this Emio one just so I can talk about it on this podcast when it releases. I'm not sure if I'm going to play the first two, though. It's a tough sell. And this game, honestly, I think is going to sell worse than Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. It's not this power game, I don't feel like. I could be wrong. But let me know if you're into this Famicom Detective Club and if you are buying the Emio game. I imagine a lot of people are underage, like under age 17, which is the mature rating for the game. So I don't blame you if that's your reason. But yeah, let me know if you're gonna get into that. But with that said, let's dive into our next piece of news here. Let's grab this one. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I was hesitant to read this piece of news because I thought it was a different piece of news in here. But our next piece of news reads the obvious, but very important and exciting. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition has released. We probably know that. But there's a lot of news to go with that. So let me find it on my notes here. Listen, guys, today, as of recording, I went to go and buy Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. I got the whole deluxe set. It was cool. I unboxed it on my second YouTube channel. And it had some cool stuff. It had that special gold cartridge, which doesn't actually work, but it was nice. And here, let's dive into the news here. So, the game released July 18th. If you want to buy it, it is available digitally for $29.99, which is, I won't dive into my thoughts just yet. If you want to skip there, feel free. But I will say is, I would call it a fair price. And it's $60 physically, but the only way to buy it physically is to buy the deluxe set, so you're paying the extra $30 for, all of the extra goods, like the cartridge and the art cards and the pin set, all that kind of stuff you're paying extra for. So $30 at the lowest. We'll dive into my thoughts later on in the show. Once again, if you want to skip there are timestamps down below. But we have some news that came out after this game had released. So first of all, the one that you may or may not care about, this game, Nintendo World Championships, was co-developed by Indie Zero. So Nintendo and Indie Zero, who is a game studio, worked on the game. Why is that important? Well, that's important because Indie Zero also made the NES remix games on the Wii U and the 3DS. So people were kind of saying that Nintendo World Championships, the entire game, the concept looks similar to the hit Wii U games and hit 3DS game, NES Remix. And they were kind of comparing the two. Well, guess what? The people who made those games helped make this one. So that's good. If you're making any NES remixes, it's good to have that same company involved who helped you do it previously. Also, a few more pieces of news. There was a day one update released today, as of recording, Thursday, and they added survival mode to the game, and they fixed a ton of bugs. Survival mode, I think, was a mode that was supposed to be at launch. It's not like they added a brand new mode just for launch day. I think it was always going to be there. They just made it live today. And yeah, I can't say my thoughts yet on all of that. If you want to hear the thoughts, you gotta wait a little bit. But I have some strong thoughts, man. Even if you aren't interested, listen to me talk about it and just see if you would be interested. And then comment if you're on a platform that can comment, like Spotify or YouTube, and let me know what you think. But our next piece of news here, this one's actually pretty juicy and one that I didn't see coming. The headline here reads, "We got news on if Link is playable or not in the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom." So, guys, in the last Nintendo Direct, we got word that Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was coming out, and the main shocker was that Zelda is the playable character for a change after all these years. But is Link playable at all? Well, over the past week, this game, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, got rated by the ESRB, which is like the E for everyone, or E 10 up, like everyone 10 and up, there you go. Or they rate games mature. They're the rating company, at least for the US and Canada? I don't know. Definitely the US though. And they rated the game, everybody 10 and up, which is normal for Zelda games. And guess what? They have to describe the game for parents to see, and if they're worried that little Timmy might not be well suited for a Zelda game, parents can go to the ESRB website and check the whole description. And that's what they've made. They have made the description for the game, and here's what they say. There's some juicy info in here, so listen up. Quote, "This is an adventure game in which players assume the role of Zelda as she attempts to dispel rifts throughout Hyrule and rescue Link. From a 3/4 overhead perspective, players explore various environments while fighting stylized enemies, for example, human creatures. As Link, players use a sword and arrows to defeat enemies." Pause right there. So whether it's on a very small scale or whether it's like half the game, Link is 100% playable. Now, I will read the rest of the quote here because there's good information, but I want to temper your expectations. That could simply just mean that you play as Link for 5 minutes in the intro. We don't know. We don't know how involved Link actually is. We'll probably find out later, but you can play as Link, maybe for a short period of the game, maybe for a long period, we don't know, but Link is playable. Zelda can use a magic wand to summon creatures, for example, wind-up knights, pig soldiers, or slime, for battle. Some enemies can be defeated by being set on fire. Other creatures dissolve into mist when defeated. Battle sequences are somewhat frenetic, with several enemies attacking / fighting at once. And that is the details revealed on Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Listen, I wouldn't mind a full game where Zelda is the only playable character, but I'm really interested to see how much Link is actually involved. Because when you look at the trailer for the game, there was no playing as Link. If you did not read that description and you just watched the trailer for Echoes of Wisdom, you would think what we all thought for a few weeks. Yeah, Link is not playable, only Zelda is. They made the entire trailer feel like Zelda is your main character, and I'm sure that is the case, right? But there was no even like hint in that trailer of Link being playable. So that leads me to believe that Link is only playable for like 10 minutes. Or maybe what'll happen is it'll be like Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, where you would play as Mario for a long period of time, and then you play as Link for like 10 minutes, like in between chapters. I don't know, maybe it could be something like that. Who knows what it could be? But Link is playable. We'll have to hear more about his role. However, I'm not sure if they would ever address it, like in the future trailers. Like as they give us more info for Echoes of Wisdom, I don't think they'll be like, yeah, and Link is playable here and here. I think he's just a small intro part that they won't show you in the future trailers. We gotta wait and see, but that's all I have to say on that. Link is playable, and our next piece of news is... the perfect piece of news to go after the Echoes of Wisdom news, because we have more details revealed on Super Mario Party Jamboree. And the reason why that is perfect to go after Echoes of Wisdom is because all of this Mario Party Jamboree info comes via the ESRB as well. They wrote a description for Mario Party Jamboree, and we can read it because there are some new details in this description here. Can I just say, guys, one thing? I'm not sure if it's a hot take or what. I have not seen one other person talk about this, and I need to say it again, even though I've said it 90 times. What were they thinking with the title Super Mario Party Jamboree? Not because Jamboree, it's not because I don't like that word. I do like it, actually. The problem is the logo looks the exact same as the Super Mario Party logo. You have a game called Super Mario Party, which has a logo, and then you took the same logo and put it on a totally different game and put Jamboree after it. I'll use the same analogy that I always use. If you go to Target and you see Super Mario Party and Super Mario Party Jamboree with the same logo, just Jamboree at the bottom, which one are you buying? You're buying Jamboree because it sounds like it's a deluxe version of that game. No one is going to buy Super Mario Party anymore after Jamboree releases. Which, not many people were buying it anyway, but, now it's for sure going to stop, because why would you ever buy Super Mario Party when there's Jamboree? I don't know, it's weird. But we do have a brand new description, and the game is rated E for everyone. It's hard to imagine a world where a Mario Party is rated teen. Could you imagine that? Teen-rated Mario Party. There would have to be some bad violence. Teen Mario anything is crazy. I'm not sure if it's ever happened, but here we go. We have a description for the game. It's kind of what you would expect, but let's go ahead and let's read it and go over it. Quote, "This is a collection of mini-games, party games, in which players compete to earn stars, coins, and rankings as players engage in different modes. For example, board game, rhythm games, puzzle-based games, flying games, mini-games. They encounter or participate in whimsical instances of fantasy violence, cartoony cannons/cannon turrets that shoot at giant characters, avoiding a robot with giant boxing gloves/fists, using oversized hammers against each other, connecting electrical circuits to zap a boss character. Damage is indicated by blinking, comical yelps, and or dizzy star effects." So whether or not you took more information away from that, that is the description for Super Mario Party Jamboree, not Jamboree, I'm not sure what I said. Launches, let's see how good my Nintendo memory is, guys. Launches October 14th, is that right? Let me check. I can find it real quick. Oh, dang it, October 17th. I was close. I was kind of close. I'm not sure why I said 14th, but it sounded right in my head, so. I do not have it pre-ordered, but I will have to pre-order it in the next few months, and we will for sure be talking about that game on the podcast. Once I get my hands on Mario Party Jamboree, we will talk about it on the podcast, and we will let you know if you should buy it or not. But our next piece of news, third to last piece of news here, before we get into the next segment. MyNintendo, the free Nintendo rewards program, has added a new Nintendo World Championships NES Edition trucker hat, okay? Now, you might sit here and be like, Max, why is this important? They added a free hat to their program. Well, first of all, they added a free hat to their program. That alone is pretty shocking. Free in terms of, like, it costs platinum points, which are free to earn, so it's effectively free. But if you guys are watching the video version, if you're not, I'll explain it to you. I have this hat right in front of me, okay? I have this hat right here. This is the hat that I put all of the headlines in. So I have paper in here, and I put the headlines in there. I ordered this Nintendo World Championships NES Edition trucker hat to be the brand new headline hat. Isn't that exciting? Wow. I have ordered that. That will be the new headline hat. Once I get it, I'm not sure when I'll get it. Nintendo takes a while to ship things out, so hopefully by episode 100, I don't know, whenever I get it, I'll use it. So it is 1,200 platinum points, which is on the more expensive side for platinum points, which makes sense. If you're redeeming any physical in real life rewards from MyNintendo, they usually sell things like stickers, keychains, and those are like 500 platinum points. If they're giving you a whole hat, 1,200 makes sense. That's a lot more useful than a sticker or a keychain. 1,200 makes sense. And it's a simple black hat with the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition logo on it. Very simple. That's all it is. 1,200 platinum points. Let me know if you're picking that up. I imagine not one person here is picking that up. It's just not something that I feel like, as listeners of this podcast, you might pick this up, but I just feel like most people are skipping it. I mean, most people skipped the actual game, Nintendo World Championships. Who's going to buy the hat and spend 1,200 platinum points? Doesn't seem very likely. But our second to last piece of news, by the way, guys, our last piece of news is kind of like a funny one, so stay tuned. Our next piece of news, we have some news on the Splatoon 3 Splatfests with an S at the end. Splatfests. There's multiple things here, okay? Lots of things to unpack. So Splatoon 3 held a Splatfest last weekend. It was the Splatoon 3 Summer Nights Splatfest. Not sure what I said. If you do not know what a Splatfest is, it's essentially you're playing Splatoon 3, which is a shooter game, and you pick one of 3 teams, and you pick that team, you go and play some matches. Effectively, to put it simply, whoever wins the most matches wins the Splatfest contest. That went on last week. It was a Summer Nights theme, and the theme was I don't have it listed, but it was like, which one of these would you like to rent to yourself for a whole day? A palace, a theme park, or a beach? And Team Beach won the Splatfest. I unfortunately was on Team Theme Park. I thought that would win. Who doesn't want a theme park to themselves for a day? Come on, you want a beach? For what? You can go to the beach right now and no one's bothering you. It'll feel like you have it to yourself. Not really, but kind of. A beach? Come on. I'm not, criticizing people. I'm sure that, you have your reasons. Theme park, though. Come on. Palace is cool, but like, what are you going to do there alone? Theme park, no one is, there's no lines. You can sit in the front seat. I mean, come on. It's great. But that happened. And then shortly after that, this week, Nintendo announced the next Splatoon 3 Splatfest. This takes place next week. That's not next week. That is not next week. That's in like 3 weeks. Friday, August 9th. That is not next week. I'm not sure what I'm saying here. Friday, August 9th to Sunday, August 11th. The theme of the next Splatfest is, what could you eat every day? Bread, rice, or pasta? So it's team bread, team rice, or team pasta. Which team are you on? That is the Splatfest theme. If you all want to join my team, who do I pick here? So definitely not bread. I mean, I could eat bread every day, but like, do you want to eat bread over rice or pasta? No, you don't. So team bread is not on the, options here. Team rice or team pasta? I like both. I go pasta. It's the most fruity. It's not fruity, but it's like flavorful. That's the word. It's the most flavorful. So I'm not sure why you wouldn't go pasta. I'm team pasta all the way for the Splatfest. And it's not next week. Like I said, it's not next week. It's not the week. In 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks time, you will have the Splatfest Friday, August 9th. That'll be a great weekend. And I look forward to seeing you all on the battlefield. I usually play, I think I'm going to play late Saturday night. So play late Saturday night and hope that you see me. And if you see me, please let me know. I don't think that you will, though. It's pretty slim chances. But regardless, we have our last piece of news here. And this is actually not at all Nintendo news. Well, it kind of is. Guys, I am expected, EmSwizzle is expected to release a new long-form video on his main channel next week. I'm looking at like July 25th or so, somewhere around there. I will have my next YouTube video on my main channel released. It is a work of art. I can tell you that right now. It is a beautiful piece of content. And if you have any interest in seeing me on the big screen on my YouTube channel, there's only one step to do so. Go to youtube.com/@EmSwizzle, and I will make an official announcement if, in fact, my video is releasing next week. And you will be able to see me on the big screen probably that Thursday. I would probably aim for Thursday or Friday, one of those 2 days of next week, July 26th or July 25th. Do look forward to it. If it's not next week, I will put out another announcement on my YouTube channel community tab, but it's probably expected next week. So look out for that. It's a really, really great video. So that'll be great. That's our last piece of news, guys. It is time to dive into the next segment here, which is my first impressions on the brand new hit Nintendo game. I cannot even say hit. It just came out. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, my friends. I bought the game this morning. I ate 3 pancakes and I played it. Let's dive into my thoughts. It's a game. It's fun. But now let's dive into my actual thoughts. Let's go ahead. Let's get to my first impressions on Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Let's go. So, my friends, you know the drill. I wake up. I go get the game. I make a second channel video about it. And I have played Nintendo World Championships. Honestly, do you want the truth? For about 1 hour. Which is a little bit less than I usually play games before I come on here and talk about them. But I don't feel that makes me any less credible to talk about this because I kind of got the whole gist of everything, honestly, in like half an hour. But I did play for a full hour, and I have written down some thoughts on my phone. I'm going to talk you through what the game is, how it runs, what the different modes are, how much content there is, do I like it, and the final thing is, should you buy the game? So, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the content, my personal thoughts? Let's take you through the entire experience. So, when I boot up, first of all, hold on, wait. This is actually stealing, by the way. First of all, do you guys know when you buy a physical Nintendo Switch game, you can like redeem gold points for it on the home menu, and you get like, it's almost like cash back kind of thing. You can do that, but I paid for the cream of the crop special edition, the deluxe set, which was $60. They only gave me 30 gold points, which I understand. That's all that this game is worth. It's 30 on the eShop. But come on, I paid you 60, Nintendo. 60. I understand. That's not how the whole system works. But I would have liked 30 more cents. Okay. Either way, I boot the game up, and right away, this is something that I love about any Nintendo game. Very few have it. Big Brain Academy has it. I feel like Clubhouse Games, no, they don't really have it. There's a few games that have this, and that is heavy customization. So right away, when you get into the game, you're making a profile. So you get to choose your icon that'll be seen to random players online. You get to choose your tag, which means like, what do you want it to say under your name? So for example, there's things like, I grew up in the NES generation, DS generation, GameCube generation. You can like put whatever you want underneath your name. Not whatever you want, but there's like so many tags of things that, you can put, like gaming fan or Nintendo forever, or like random little taglines below your name. That's really cool. I like that. And also, you can pick your favorite NES game. They have pretty much every single NES game in their system. You can pick which one is your favorite, and that'll be seen by everyone online. That is so cool. And by the way, there is a coin system in the game. The more you play, the more coins you get. You can unlock more icons. Oh, it's sick. Okay, so that is the whole customization thing. I love that for any game. Splatoon has it too. Animal Crossing has it. I love that so much. It lets strangers know more about you. That's cool. Now, what else did I write down here? It has a sick soundtrack, by the way. Sick soundtrack. And that was like one of the first things that I noticed. Great soundtrack. And the final thing that I'll dive into before I dive into the actual content itself is the game does work with an NES Switch Online controller. However, I'm not sure if you'll want to use it because I had a bunch of problems with the D-pad. My controller works fine, but like it's not optimal to like be doing things with that D-pad if you're trying to speed run certain levels. So I might advise you not to use the NES controller. Regardless, the game has some content, and honestly, more content than I thought it would have. So there are 3 main modes in Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Let's start with the first one, the single-player mode, Speedrun. So Speedrun is kind of the name of the entire game. The entire game is just you doing certain tasks as fast as possible. So in the Speedrun mode, you're able to select from 13 different NES games, Kirby, Zelda, Zelda 2, Mario Bros, Mario Bros 2, all these kinds of things. I believe there's Kid Icarus, there's Metroid, all these different games. You can select which game you want to, do some levels for. Let's say I pick Mario. There's like 10 speedrun challenges for the Mario NES game. Let's say that I pick the first one. It says like, I don't know, how fast can you get the super mushroom? How fast can you get a mushroom in this level, right? You do that, takes 5 seconds. All right, next challenge. And it's just you doing these challenges for different NES games over and over and over, and they get harder as you go. That's all it is. It's single player speedrunning challenges for different games. I didn't count exactly, but it looks like there's probably near 100 speedrunning challenges to do in single player. That's cool. But if you want to spice things up and play some randos, there's 2 more modes for you. So, the other mode, which I have some mixed feelings on for whatever reason, is the World Championships mode. And what this is Nintendo seems to be running an in-game event right now, where you can compete in the World Championships mode. There are 5 different tasks for NES games to do. So let's say I picked this task, and the task is How fast can you kill these enemies in Zelda? I have to try to get the best time that I can, and meanwhile, people around the world are all trying to get the best time that they can, and then when this in-game event closes, I believe in like a few days, everyone's leaderboard score gets revealed, and we get to see who actually got the best time. So it's like you're competing for a world championship, but you don't know how fast everyone else, did the task. And there's 5 of those games. It's essentially you play the game, get your best score, and in a few days, you're going to be able to see everyone's score. What's kind of cool about that is it actually takes the birth year from your Nintendo account, which is bad because mine is not my actual birth year, and you can see where you rank among other people that share your birth year. So if I was born in 2000, I can see everyone's score that was born in 2000. I can see where I am for my age group. That is sick. Now, can I use it? No, because my birthday is wrong on my account. So that's not good, but that is a sick feature. That's actually really cool. You can see if you are the best of the best for your age group. Sick. So that is kind of the World Championship mode. There is one more mode, and probably my favorite mode, and that is Survival mode. So Survival mode is a mini tournament. What it is you hop into either a silver survival mode or a gold survival mode. Gold is obviously harder stuff. Let's say that I dive into the silver one. What I would do is I would get thrown into a lobby of 8 people, including me. The 7 other people are not actually there though. The 7 other players that I'm competing with are ghosts of actual people online. So let's say I beat an NES task earlier in the day, took me 4 seconds. I could appear as a ghost in somebody else's tournament now. So you're just competing over, or I guess against 7 other people's ghosts where they completed the same task that you're about to do. So it's a tournament, you and 7 other ghost players, and you have to place top 4 out of the 8 players. Then you proceed to a harder NES speedrun task. You have to place top 2. So it's like a tournament. Then the other 2 players go. Now it's the top 2 players out of that whole 8-player tournament. Those top 2 players play against each other. So it's you and someone else's ghost. And if you win the whole tournament. So it's like a mini tournament. It's 8 players, then cut it down to 4 players, then 2, then 1. It's a mini tournament. And then once again, there's no real-time online play. It's the ghosts of people who played these speedrun games earlier. You're competing against their ghosts. I don't know why they took that approach. I'm not sure if it just made it more, I guess, easier to make sure everything was for sure real time. I don't know. But the game is neat. And that's pretty much all the content that it has to offer you. That's it. But honestly, you have to remember, there have been games. Mario Strikers Battle League. I like that game, but let's call it how it is. That game was $60 and had barely any content to it. Like, barely anything. There have been games that have been priced higher in the past that have less content. For $30, Nintendo World Championships, honestly, I think has a fair amount of value to be worth $30. I think so. Because these challenges, it's not like you play the speedrun once and you're done. I found myself playing one of these speedrun games 20 times just to try and get the best score possible. And you're doing that for so many different speedrun games. So it's not like you're speedrunning, done, speedrun, done, and then the game's over. You get addicted. You keep trying to get the best score possible and get in the leaderboards for these games. It's more than just 5 seconds done. It's more than that. However, I guess that'll bring us to the topic. Well, there's one last thing that I can say. There is a party mode. If you want to, play with 8 players, you can. with 4 sets of Joy-Cons. You can do that. And there are 150 plus challenges, so not 100. There are 150 plus different challenges. The main topic, though, should you buy this game? Should you buy Nintendo World Championships NES Edition? And before I answer that, I want to pull up this poll that I put on my YouTube channel. Okay? This poll says, will you be picking up Nintendo World Championships NES Edition this Thursday? 6% said yes on launch day. 6% said yes, I will buy the game, but not on launch day. So eventually, only 12% total are buying this game at some point in time out of my community. That's not it's not the entire Nintendo fan base, it's my community. 15% of people are still, deciding whether or not they want the game, and 74% say no way, they are never buying Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Now, I will say, I think it's way less than 74%, because most of the comments are saying, like, I'm saving my money for Echoes of Wisdom. I understand that. You want to save money for bigger Nintendo games. Understandable. However, you're never going to buy it, even in like 4 years. Like, I don't really believe it. And that's probably a problem with the poll that I put out. But I believe this game is very timeless. Like, you can buy it in 5 years, 10 years, and you'll get some joy out of it, So we can't go off of that, but I did think that it was interesting to bring up. Should you buy this game? It's got a fair amount of content. The price is not the issue. It's do you want to play this? That's what it comes down to. And I think for a lot of people, especially maybe someone who's not a hardcore Nintendo fan, like, you can be hardcore, but maybe someone who doesn't enjoy playing NES games. If I had to give a definitive yes or no, I would say, nah, probably skip it. Probably skip it. Skip. Because while it's fun for anyone who plays it, you realistically aren't going to sink a ton of time into this unless you're really into, like, NES and or speedrunning. And I imagine that's not everybody who is currently playing Switch. I don't think a lot of people will buy this game, especially because it kind of turns people off that it's NES games when the general thought is, wait, I have to pay for NES? I can just play them on Switch Online. That obviously is not a fair argument. These are speedrunning challenges. The Switch Online games are just like the full games in their entirety. But that's kind of like the general, somebody writing off this game as nothing big, right? It's a really tough sell, and I'm enjoying this game. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably say it's an 8 out of 10, because it's not the most content-filled. It's not the largest game of all time. But is it fun? Is it enjoyable? Is it quality for $30? Yes. So I say 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, but that doesn't mean that you should or shouldn't buy it. Should you buy it? I say no. Save your money for Echoes of Wisdom. I will say this, there are better games out there that cost $30 or less, that can let you put more time into it. This game is good, and I'm going to keep playing it probably tonight, maybe. It's just not worth your $30. There are better games out there that cost $30. So if you're on, a tight budget, not even a tight budget, if you're just saving money for like the games later this year, like Mario Party and Zelda and all that, I'd say don't buy it, because it'll always be there. $30, it'll always be there on the eShop. I say no. Those are my thoughts on Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. It's a good game. I like it, but it's not going to be for everyone. And I feel like I've said that about a number of games, like Endless Ocean Luminous, but I think it's just a tough sell. and you won't see too many people buying it. For reference, guys, I got onto the game this morning on launch day at like 12 p.m. There were only 50,000 users registered into the tournament. So 50,000 copies, 12 hours into the whole release of the game. People who have, played the tournament mode. That's obviously not everyone who bought the game. Obviously, there's people who pre-ordered it who are going to play it later that day. People tomorrow and the next day and this weekend, obviously. But 50K at launch, I will say, worldwide, I thought it would be a little bit more than that. Like 12 I can't talk. 12 hours in, I can't talk. 12 hours in to launch day, I thought it would be a little bit more than that. Weird. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into our next segment, which is, when will the Nintendo Switch 2 be revealed? It's something to talk about. It's something big. It's never happened in 7 years. In the last 7 years, we have not gotten a reveal for a brand new Nintendo console, and it's coming later this year. But when exactly? I have the data, I have the stuff, I have the info. Let's go ahead and let's dive into that. Guys, when will the Nintendo Switch 2 be revealed? It's a big topic, it's everyone's favorite topic, and it's the one that will probably be the biggest thing that Nintendo does this year. Nintendo has already said they will announce the Nintendo Switch successor in this fiscal year. And it's most likely going to be at the end of this year. Just when is it? Well, it's a very important discussion. And very important discussions need very important history information. So I looked up when the last 3 Nintendo consoles were revealed and then released. Here's what we know. Okay, because this is big for the conversation here. The 3DS was revealed in March of 2010 and released 11 months later in February of 2011. The Wii U was revealed in June 2011 and released, 12. Sorry, I'm trying to count the months. It released in November 2012. So that's what? 17 months later? Then most recently, the Nintendo Switch was revealed in October 2016. But that one had a fairly fast turnaround. They released the Switch in March of 2016. And it was in late October, I think. So I believe it was like 5-month turnaround. It was a 5-month turnaround for Switch. Or 4 months. Because if it was late October, March 3rd, that's like a near 4-month, more than 4 months turnaround. A little bit more than 4 months. That's quick, man. So with all that said, it seems like Nintendo wanted to get their new console, that being the Switch, out quick. Because before that, they would announce the console and wait like a year before it even released, right? But now it's just seeming like the Nintendo Switch 2 will get a little revealed trailer later this year and then drop early next year. So the current rumor from all of the video game leakers is that the Nintendo Switch 2 will launch in spring of 2025, whether it's March, April, or even May. We will for sure, undeniably get a reveal, like showing what the console is, the name, and maybe a release date this year. I am 99% sure of it. Because you don't want to do that in like January when everyone's opening things back up for the new year. You just don't want to do it then. You want everyone to know about it going into the year, kind of thing. So they're going to reveal it this year. It's just a matter of when. So right now, we are in July. Let's break down when this will most likely be. So, July, will it be in July? This could age poorly, but I say heck no. We're almost at the end of July. It would be weird if they showed it already, okay? August. Could they reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 in August? Yes, it's possible. It's a very open month. The only thing going on is, the Emio game that releases August 29th. That is the only thing going on there. It's possible, but I would also lean towards no. September, could they reveal the Switch 2? I say no, and here's why. You might think September is, prime time, guys. It's September. They have a September Direct every year. They can just show it in that Direct. I say no. No way. No. Why would you do that? Here's why. I believe they will have a September Nintendo Direct, but you will not see the Switch 2 in there. And here's why. That Direct is going to be, I think, either very light or just have remakes and remasters. This could age bad, but it's my prediction. I believe it'll be light or just have remakes or just have, remasters, right? Because if you reveal the Switch 2 too soon, that could easily hurt sales on Mario Party Jamboree, Mario and Luigi, Echoes of Wisdom. It's fine to announce the Switch 2 while you have upcoming games, and they obviously will do that. But you have 3 heavy hitters to close out the year. Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, and Mario and Luigi. Wait a little bit longer, okay? So after September, we will have Echoes of Wisdom. The next thing is Mario Party Jamboree. That is in October. I think that you reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 a little bit after Mario Party Jamboree. So right in between Jamboree on October 17th and Halloween. Somewhere right smack dab in the middle. And you might be saying, Max, isn't that exactly right when they revealed the Switch? The first one? My answer is yes. But I think there's probably no better timeline. You can do it in November, I guess. They could easily do it after Mario and Luigi releases. Like November 17th. They can do that. But I just can't help but think October is a good time to reveal the Switch 2. I say that, or shortly after Mario and Luigi. There's no December, there's no January, neither of those. It's October or November. Could what I'm saying age bad? Sure. Does this sound solid? Maybe. Because if you're a casual Nintendo fan, I know that a lot of us listening, including me, and probably including you, are going to buy Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, are going to buy Mario Party Jamboree, are going to buy Mario and Luigi Brothership, right? Like, we can't deny that. Like, we're going to buy those games. They're all brand new games. But the casual gamer who's maybe not as invested, which is a lot of Nintendo Switch players, they're like not in the full loop with Nintendo games. That's a lot of people. They might see the Switch 2 get announced and just hold off on buying any Switch games. Now, will me and you do that? No. Right? Like, we won't do that. We know better. But some people will do that. You don't want to do it right when you're dropping new games or right before you're dropping new games. If you do it after November, after Mario and Luigi, you're only doing it before you release Donkey Kong Country Returns HD in January. You don't have to worry about that game not selling well because you announced Switch 2 2 months before. There is no Nintendo game releasing after Mario and Luigi all the way to mid-January with Donkey Kong. Somewhere in that window is perfect, or that October date after Mario Party Jamboree. Now that I'm talking more, I kind of do think, actually, that the November timeline might be better, actually. That might be better. Let me check the calendar here. So Mario and Luigi Brothership, we can say, releases November... Quick little Google here. 6th, right? When does it release? Releases November... Why is there no release date? Okay, the 7th of November, okay? Mario and Luigi Brothership drops November 7th. If I go to my calendar, I say they could reveal Switch 2. I think if you're going to do it at all in November, it's got to be the week after. So I would say November 15th, Friday. You drop the trailer, let it explode into the whole weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and that's when you reveal. Now, maybe because you're pushing it a month back. So Switch 1 was revealed in October, released in March. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you reveal it in November and then drop it in April, like a little April 10th release date. Maybe do that, man. That's the power move. Reveal in November, launch in April. That's the move. Now, after all this talking, after these predictions, after me being confident in the October release date, when do I believe Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed? I think, I was pretty confident just a few minutes ago on the whole October thing until I kind of had a mind shift here. I had a mind shift. I say mid-November, you get Switch 2 revealed. They're going to announce a little tweet, show a little presentation. That could happen. They could very well do something in September if they really wanted to. I just don't think it makes business sense. It just does. You have 3 heavy hitters coming up. Why drop Switch 2 announcement, They could do it because they have a great excuse to. September, they always do something big. They have a reason to, but why? It doesn't make good business sense. So, I'm not, the business leader at Nintendo. I have no experience, but from an outsider's perspective, why would you do that? You have 3 new games coming out. I don't know. November is the time. It works well. You can put a Super Bowl commercial out in February, and there you go. Switch 2 goes to the moon. That's when I think it'll be revealed. But time for everyone's favorite segment of the week, the Answering Your Questions segment, where I answer your questions you have asked me. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. My friends, you have asked me questions to answer, and I am doing that right now. If you want to ask a question for me to answer on the podcast, feel free. On my main YouTube channel called EmSwizzle, you can go to my community tab every single Wednesday around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you'll see a post that says, hey, ask me questions, goodbye, leave your question there. I do that because that is the largest written form reach that I have on the internet, so feel free to go over there and leave your question, and if you feel like your question is not getting answered week after week, you can get it guaranteed by becoming a YouTube channel member. And that is the Swizzle Prime tier. Become a Swizzle Prime channel member, and you can get it guaranteed, my friends. But links are all down below for that. You do not have to do any of the digging yourself. Click the link that says sources and links, and you'll see all of the, community tab links, channel member links, all that kind of stuff. It's all down below. With that said, our first question is a spicy one, and it comes from Ancient Sheikah Gamer 1819. And they ask a question that I've been wanting. I want the product in this question. Do you think an Animal Crossing collection will ever come to a Nintendo console? Guys, if you know me, this is the only thing that I want in life is an Animal Crossing HD collection where they have Animal Crossing GameCube, Animal Crossing City Folk, and Animal Crossing New Leaf all in HD on the Switch, on the big screen. There's nothing more that I would want. And I don't see why Nintendo wouldn't do it, simply because Animal Crossing New Horizons sold magnificently. It sold 40 million copies, and they did nothing to capitalize on it other than drop a DLC, which is a very smart move. It's better than doing no DLC, and it sold tremendous. I'm just saying, drop an Animal Crossing spin-off or something. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Now, the argument is, when you talk about an Animal Crossing collection, and I believed this argument for so long, now I think it's stupid. Sorry if you believe this argument. People were saying, why would you make an Animal Crossing collection? It's hard to do that because with New Horizons, you can put furniture outside, there's customization. In the older games, you can't do that. I believe that argument because it made so much sense until you realize this. It's not a strong argument. If you look at any remake, let's take, Pikmin 1 and 2 coming out. Are Pikmin 4 players gonna play Pikmin 1 and 2 and be like, oh, where's Ochi? No, it's a different game! It's a different game! Are Kirby and the Forgotten Land players gonna play Kirby Return to Dreamland and be like, oh, it's not 3D? Like, what? It's not the same. It's an older game. You can still make a collection. Like, it's not supposed to be like that game. It's supposed to be different. It's not meant to be like that. It doesn't have to have outdoor furniture. Now, listen, the other games, New Leaf, City Folk, have things to offer when they are brought to HD. New Leaf has the Tortimer Island, has Main Street, has the Roost as an actual building, has everything. City Folk has the city. It's all new stuff. So I don't buy the argument anymore that, you know, people would be confused while playing the older Animal Crossing games. No! I love my example of what I just said. Are Pikmin 4 players gonna play Pikmin 1? Oh, there's no Ochi. Like, it's a new feature. It's a new thing. So, do I see an Animal Crossing collection? Very possible, just to capitalize on the people who are Animal Crossing fans. But I just, it gets harder to see every single day. Like, every single day, it's slipping away. Like, if we were ever going to get one, it probably should have happened a few months ago. But I don't know. If there is a time, it could be in like September because it's the year of the remakes and remasters. So I don't know. They've never made Animal Crossing in HD before. Like in a HD port kind of thing. They have made an HD Animal Crossing. That's not what I'm saying here. But you know, they've never really ported it over. So unfortunate. But hopefully it does happen at some point. I would say it's very possible. Doggo asks, if you could choose to be any Pokemon, which one would you be and why? Also, in this scenario, you will be picked as someone's starter. Okay, so I'm a starter Pokemon. I don't have to pick a starter Pokemon, though, right? Like, I can pick whichever Pokemon I want to be. Okay. Simple. Very simple. I would pick Pikachu. You're the most loved and famous Pokemon. You're cute, dude. I mean, call it how it is. And you're just the mascot. You're probably the richest Pokemon because every plush of you sells. It must be good to be Pikachu, dude. I say Pikachu. Yeah. Who would I be as a Pokemon? I would be Pikachu. I would also like to be Machamp so I can defend myself, but I could go either way. Epic Jacob, when do you think the next Pikmin game will release? Ooh. I would say there will 100% be a Pikmin game on Switch 2, especially because of, you know, Pikmin 4 is the best-selling Pikmin game out there, and that just released almost 1 year ago exactly, today. It just released 1 year ago, and I feel there's now kind of a fan base there. You know, Pikmin is as popular as it's ever been, and I think a Pikmin 5 would do tremendous numbers if you can improve it a bunch and show it's a brand new game and really dial in on the advertising for the game. So I don't think it'll be as long of a wait as the last one was, Pikmin 3 to 4. I think it could launch. I don't see it being an early launch title for Switch 2. I think it could take a while, but I think it'll be on Switch 2. I think it'll be maybe in like year 4. So if Switch launches in 2025, for example, I don't think it would be until 2028. And you might think, Max, that's year 3. No, it's not. 2025 is a year, 26 is a year, 27, 28 is the 4th year. So I think it could come out in 2028, which seems like a while away. I just don't see it being like even, the first 3 years of Switch 2. I just don't see it there. Could it be? Would I like it to be? Sure. I just don't think that it will be. I don't think so. Let's Go Gaming asks, how much better do you think Mario Odyssey would have been if you were able to play as Luigi after you collect all 999 moons? You can now play as Luigi. I don't think it would have been crazy. I mean, listen. If I unlocked Luigi in Mario Odyssey, the first thing I would do is wear the swimsuit and see shirtless Luigi. I'm sorry, that's kind of weird. But I would go here. If I unlock Luigi in Mario Odyssey, like, yeah, that's really cool. But I don't think I'm playing that like for hours. Like, oh, cool, I can now play as Luigi, the big meme. I don't know. I don't think it would do much for me. And I'm not sure that I would collect all the moons just to play as Luigi. It's hard to say. I would lean towards it wouldn't be too much better. It'd be cool, little Easter egg, but I wouldn't really be too into it. Jerry's 1194, in the spirit of Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Oh, Jerry's festive. What is your favorite NES game? Yes. So my favorite NES game, I've got a couple. I like, the classic Mario Bros, but my answer is probably Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I've never beat it by any means, but I just like the entire Punch-Out game, and I have played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and I like the concept. It's just my favorite NES game, by far. It's the one that I connect the most with, and hopefully I can get to the end of it at some point. Any kind of Punch-Out game is a fun game. So my answer is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. That's actually what I chose for the Nintendo World Championships, favorite NES game. I chose Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. So everyone online can see that is my favorite NES game. Expect a Ghost asks, what do you think the next Paper Mario game will be? Oh, sorry. When do you think the next Paper Mario game will be? I think it'll be... Well, they've had a while. They haven't made a new one since 2020. They've remade Thousand Year Door. I think year 2 of Switch 2. So 2026? Yeah, I think so. Year 2 of Switch 2. It was year 4 on Switch. I think year 2. Because obviously they're probably going to launch Switch 2 with a brand new Mario game, like a 3D Mario game. Mario Kart shortly after that. You want to keep the Mario coming, dude. That's a system seller. When there's a new Mario game dropping, that makes people buy the Switch 2. And you want to do that early. So I say Paper Mario year 2. I'm calling it. I'm calling it now, 2026. Next question is from OG Toad Time 4884. What do you find so fun about Animal Crossing? Oh, you're getting my gears going, bro. Because I personally have never found it fun, and I'm curious what I'm missing about it. So what I find fun about Animal Crossing, lads and lasses, take a seat, okay? Let me explain to you the greatest game series in the history of game series. Animal Crossing. Put simply, I have this huge island, and I can make it whatever the heck I want. I have 10 villagers here that I have hand-selected, and they're all my brand new friends, and they're very cool people, and you can get to know them over time. You're decorating your island. You're making this entire island look how you want it to look with all these custom designs. Holiday events are a thing, so when it's Christmas time, Jingle comes to your island. It helps you get festive. On Halloween, Jack comes to your island. On Thanksgiving, Franklin shows up. The game reflects real time, so it's 3 p.m. right now. I can play Animal Crossing, and it'll be 3 p.m. in-game. It establishes that connection. There's so many cool items. There's multiplayer. There's multiplayer games in some of the Animal Crossing games. Blah. There's in-game events. There's more NPCs to meet. There's adventuring in New Horizons. There's the DLC mode where you can decorate homes for 400 villagers. Actually more, like with all the NPCs, like 500 people. Animal Crossing is the greatest series of all time, in my opinion. Even if you can just find one of those things that I mentioned that, you would like, that's enough. That's enough to buy Animal Crossing. That is what is so great about it. Everything that I mentioned is all part of the game, and it's all so fun. Even if you just like decorating, even if you just like the in-game events happen so often. So often. Listen. Animal Crossing is not everyone's cup of tea, but there's so much to do and there's so much content. There's no game more worth $60 than Animal Crossing. So I would say Animal Crossing is the greatest of all time. Camden asks, would you rather get jumped on by Mario or bitten by a Goomba? I'd say bit by a Goomba. Because if you get jumped on by Mario, chances are you're dead. If you get hit by a Goomba, or bitten by a Goomba, you just shrink if you're, already mushroomed up. So I would say bit by a Goomba. It would hurt, but, not as bad as dying by Mario jumping on you. Rocket asks, do you think Nintendo will create another Classic Edition console? For those who do not know, Classic Edition consoles are like, they would make a mini NES, and there's like 30 NES games built in. Will they do that again for a different console? I vote no, because when those were released, the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, there was no real good way to play NES games on a big screen. I take it back. There was a Virtual Console for the Wii U and 3DS, but you had to pay, obviously, which makes sense. But now that there's Switch Online and all the games are on there, I feel like they would make more money. So say GameCube, if they were to maybe make a GameCube Classic, I think they would make more money charging $50 a year for it on Switch Online than they would having everyone pay like $80 one time, I think they would make more with the whole Switch Online model. I don't ever see any more Classic Edition consoles coming out, unfortunately. Maybe because they did the whole Game & Watch thing, like with the little Mario and the Zelda thing. Maybe they could do like a Game Boy something, but, I don't really see it happening. They make too much money off the whole Switch Online. Brayden Gomez asks, do you think that Nintendo will remake Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the Switch or the Switch's successor? Yeah, it's rough. I think 100% they're in the works. I just don't know if they're going to drop it on the Switch 1 or the Switch 2. I think, honestly, I'm leaning towards Switch 2. Because there's no, other remake or remaster out there, other than maybe, Tomodachi Life, that everyone is dying for. I've said it so many times on this podcast, so sorry if you're sick of me saying this, but if there's a very wanted remake or remaster and you put it on Switch 2, you're selling infinite copies of Switch 2 and that game. And if you made a bundle, if you made a Zelda Special Edition Switch 2 and made a whole bundle with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, that's a system seller, dude. So maybe you put it on Switch 2 at this point. Maybe you would do that. And advertise it. 4K, 60 frames per second. Do that, Why put it on Switch? Switch is almost dead. Switch 2, put it on there. It's not a very high effort game because you've already made it. Just HDify or 4Kify it and put it on Switch 2. System seller, Like, hey, you wanted this game? Come over to Switch 2. It's like pulling a cat toy on a string. Like, pull them over to Switch 2. I would say do that. I would like it on Switch. It'd be fine, but at this point, I guess Switch 2. Ishi Wee Zimbabwe with the final question asks, is the Nintendo Switch truly a hybrid system, or does it lean too close to the handheld side of things? It's a hybrid system. I mean, it's handheld or TV. I would say if it leans more one way than the other, I would say that it leans closer to the handheld side of things because, there's tabletop mode and there's handheld play and there's a kickstand, right? There's a kickstand. Whereas for the TV mode, it's just drop it in the dock TV mode, which is enough, which is more than enough. We don't need like some crazy TV settings or anything, but I would say that it leans more handheld. And by the way, I feel like when I watch Switch commercials, there's more emphasis on the fact that it's handheld as opposed to it being on the TV. Obviously, in Switch commercials, they show it on the TV, because they want to show that it's on TV and in your handheld, right? But I feel like there's more emphasis and more shots of the handheld play. I would say that it leans more handheld. But folks, that is it for the Mario Matter episode number 98. For those holding out for the trivia question that I asked earlier in the podcast, I asked you all, what is Mario's last name? Is it A, Luigi, B, Plumber, C, Mario, or D, Toadstool? The answer is C, Mario. The creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, confirmed that Mario's last name is Mario. He is Mario. Yes, that is his last name, apparently. Now, if they had an opportunity to give him a new last name, do I think that they would do that? Probably not. But his last name, if you Google it, is Mario. There you go. Mario. I can't make it up. But with that said, thank you all so much for listening. If you would be so kind, we would appreciate a 5-star rating on whatever audio platform you are listening to this podcast on. It'd be very appreciated. And with that said, I'm going to go edit this podcast because, yes, I do it myself. And, it doesn't take very long. I will see you all next week. We should have a guest on, and I think I know who it's going to be. I don't actually have them booked yet, but I can probably book them tonight. All right, I will see you all next Saturday for even more Nintendo goodness. I will see you then, and we're probably going to talk about some Switch 2 or some new fun goodness stuff. I'll see you all then. Adios.